Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Arcane, Season 1, Episode 6. Last episode was amazing. The episode before it was also great. And the one before that was also amazing. I'm liking Arcane.
Me too. I was really excited to get into watching this next episode.
Yeah, I have a few questions that we might have answers for this episode. Number 1, is Medarda pregnant with Jace's baby? Number 2, is Victor dead? Number 3, will Victor and Miss Young ever have a chance to parallel Jace and Medarda? These are all questions going through my mind. Oh, and most Jinx and Vi, they exist in this world too.
Yes.
Will they come to blows this episode? Will they meet each other? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out.
Me too.
I really like Caitlyn too.
I'm
great.
very excited by the Caitlyn Vi dynamic
big
that we're
Caitlyn
getting.
fans,
Yes,
yeah.
we are.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. That looks so much fun. Victor backstory? Don't do this to me. Oh, it's so cool. It's like the beginning of It. I was gonna see a clown down there.
You built this. Why aren't you playing with the others?
What is it?
Whoa. I love it.
This is a rare mutation that I cultivated.
Cultivated.
Whoa, look at how they animate the water moving. It's like an axolotl.
We can be loners together.
I heard your prognosis. I'm terribly sorry, my boy.
Do you contemplate death, Professor?
Only that of friends.
I suppose your legacy is...
I have seen many students. It's a sad
Great
thing,
shot.
those who shine brightest often burn fastest.
Listen, I'm sorry for disappearing last night.
Duty calls.
Victor's dying.
Wow.
I think it has something to do with gases in the fissures where he grew up. Exactly the sort of thing we wanted to fix with Hextech.
I didn't realize he was so close.
He's like my brother.
Why did you come to me with this?
Nothing feels impossible when I'm with you.
Jace is a romantic.
I'm in exile from my family.
What?
I fell short of Medarda's standards.
His blood's still there.
It's like it's beckoning him.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Theorem. My name's Theorem.
Nice try, Chuck.
The hell's that?
The sign.
Things have changed.
Can you do this?
Hell yeah. Oh!
I'm sure that did not feel good.
The whole thing moved. Oh my god.
Shit.
They're about to get saved.
It's Little Man.
And
It's gonna be
please,
Little
it
Man.
It has to be.
I hope it's Little Man. I'm gonna be so sad if it's not Little Man. Cool.
She's savage.
Maybe we should try the other.
Whoa. Cool shot.
It's your sister.
Whoa.
She's looking. Guess she replaced you.
You're lying.
It's only a matter of time before you implode and Silco finally gets the message that you're about as good for our cause as you were for your family.
Shit.
Jinx.
I know just how to deliver that message.
Whoa. Is she gonna be the one to go try to get by?
About time Daddy joined us.
That is the most terrifying thing ever.
Could you imagine being separated from your father?
Holy shit.
In a safe place.
There's an enforcer with her. A girl. Rough.
He's gonna know who it is immediately.
She's a Kiraman. Just like them, she does whatever she wants. I can't control her.
Aw, dick move, dude.
Oops. Oh, so sorry. Accidents happen.
It's like the worst thing he's done.
It responds to organic matter.
What?
It could be the key to augmenting physiology,
Extending life.
curing you.
Short-lived.
I can feel my body eroding. I'll have Sky bring Heimerdinger. He might know something that could help. In the meantime,
Sky.
we do best.
The girl that, when he was a little kid.
I suppose Topside is to blame for all your misfortunes.
And then seeing Powder.
Not all of them. We aren't monsters, you know. You have a good heart.
You've got a good heart.
Fuck.
He's seeing
Must
memories.
destroy it.
What?
If ever you've put faith in my guidance, hear me now. Mission's destroyed by a single seed, and it looked exactly like this. Victor, something's different. You've changed. What did you do? It's that thing. It must be destroyed.
Wait, no, I won't let
I wonder if he is being guided by it.
This is a violation of the ethos. I will have it destroyed one way or another.
You tell him.
Is she all right? That's Vi, right? I'm a friend. I mean, I owed her old man my life.
Oh, the doctor in the first episode on the table, right?
Yes.
She's bleeding. She needs a doctor. She's been stabbed.
I just wanted to feel what it was like. To make other people afraid.
To make other people afraid.
Instead, trade.
Damn.
Oh, that is a trade. I love apothecaries. I love it.
I love, like, the whole system down here. It's so fleshed out.
Okay.
Aw. You don't need Shimmer to make a difference.
This city was founded to be a bastion of enlightenment in a world that cannibalized itself over power and pride. Loosened our morals in favor of comfort and convenience. Now we are houses divided. If we set aside our greed and arrogance, we can be one again.
And who holds you accountable?
What?
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity. I'm sorry, Professor, but healing this city will take more than just speeches. But let me ask you this. What's your plan to fix this?
Your Hextech projects need more time, more safeguards.
Humans don't live for centuries. We can't wait for progress. I believe it's time we gave the beloved founder of our city a well-deserved retirement.
Don't do this.
They're gonna back him. He's giving them all things.
All in favor?
Oh my, he's using... Shoot, this isn't good. This is not good.
Well, it's... Jace has, like, a point in the whole humans don't live for that long, but it's not so easy, you know? That you can just
And he doesn't see the same visuals and have the same memories of the past.
You used to live here. Who's Powder? What, you don't have parents?
No. They were killed by enforcers.
Vander's prodigy.
Did he bribe them?
Oh,
No!
fuck,
What have you done with my sister? I'm gonna find her and erase whatever fucked up delusions you put in her head. But first, I'm gonna bring your bullshit empire down all around you. You talk too much.
Oh,
yes!
You could see the cracks
was
go
so
up.
cool.
Holy.
Let's see this
Good
new sign go
foreshadowing
down.
of the sign. Does Silco survive that?
He has to, unfortunately.
Wherever you are, light it up and I'll find you.
Holy.
Holy shit. Oh god, the bridge again.
You did this? I thought you understood. The mutation must survive. I understand now.
Powder?
Feel.
Are we sure about this?
I don't know what to feel.
Why? Oh, Powder! Are you real?
It's me, Vi. Your sister. I'm here. I'm right here.
Things changed when you left. I changed.
You did what you had to do to survive.
Who's she?
She's a friend.
Savika wasn't lying? You're with an enforcer? Your sister is Jinx.
Caitlin, just listen.
You're playing me. Oh, shut up! I'm in no mood. I wasn't talking to you.
Powder, it's okay.
Stop calling me that. Was that why you came? For this stupid stone?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Sister thought I missed her. Bet you wouldn't miss her. Powder! Everyone shut up! I need to think. Do you hear that?
Oh! This animation.
Okay, good catch.
Oh! 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 Little man.
Yes! Yes, it is. It has to be. And they grab Caitlyn too, and they have. Yes.
Who else would know how far gone Jinx really could be?
The only person that knew her back then too.
God, why did it end? God.
I mean, I thought it was gonna end like 10 minutes ago. I
just
didn't
didn't
think
want
they were
it to-
gonna meet
okay.
each other at the end.
Okay, that was Arcane, episode 6. So good.
I love this show.
I love this show.
I it took me, you know, those 3 first episodes to really like get into the story, and then it hooked me.
The pacing is so good.
Like, I get excited, like really genuinely excited and hyped up to continue watching this show.
Yeah.
Because of like the entertainment factor, the creativity, it like keeps you in all areas entertained. Music, like the art style, like everything, pacing.
The story is is really good, and it's really smart, and it keeps you on your toes, because sure, there are some themes and like small things that we might be able to have ideas about in the future, like guesses that we could guess or
like we
predict.
keep guessing about Little Man being the leader of the
And that might be the
Firelights.
case, but like there are so many other things in the show that I have no idea how they're going to play out, and they happen in such quick succession during an episode that it's so good, man. I can't just say one thing was good, too. Whether it's the pacing or, my God, the voice actors and actresses in this show and episode in particular are amazing. They're so good.
My God, oh my gosh, Milo and Claggor standing behind
Dude.
Jinx at the very end, like literally killed me right there. That was crazy. That got me. That was insane.
So I have never watched, I have not watched enough movies or read enough comic books to truly understand the people who know about Harley Quinn. But from the little I do know of, I could see comparisons being drawn to Jinx. But like I said, I don't know a lot about Harley Quinn, and I'm learning a decent amount about Jinx. And Jinx's psychology and how she's gotten to the point where she's at is unfortunately extremely believable, and it just it sells everything harder,
and unfortunately entertaining. Like
Yeah.
it sucks to feel like, so in a weird way it's like, wow, I am super entertained by this person's trauma response.
Well, it's like Vi is like, we both survived, we've done what we needed to, but
We're back together. You did what you need. Yeah.
Vi was older. Vi was in a different place.
She
where
was put in a
everything
prison.
went down. Man,
She
Powder
wasn't the
has been
Jinx.
through way too much, before and after.
It's like Vi had that responsibility on her shoulders of being that older sibling and the one that all of the other kids in the lanes probably looked up to. Obviously, Milo, Claggor, and Powder were specifically the ones that looked up to her. And so in a way, she could possibly blame herself for those 2 deaths and then the path that Jinx went down and the abandoning of Jinx. She probably would blame herself. And it's like, gosh.
I think the Caitlyn dynamic adds something that it's like, it could have been predictable of like the whole, oh yeah, of course your sister's Jinx, but they were juggling so much that I didn't even think about the interaction happening too much, and it made it so like visceral and real when it came up. It was just, I don't know. I think it's a lot of it's the pacing that just keeps me on my toes. I loved it. Starting from the beginning of the episode, we get a little bit of Victor's past, right? And he interacted with a girl named Sky, and we get the same name later on in the episode, which is just like a little. You love when that, like, I love when that kind of thing happens in shows.
Would it be wild if Miss Young is Sky? Like Sky Young?
Maybe
that's possible.
Yeah,
because why else would we just get referenced like that first name and it not actually have any like? Why would Sky be there? You know, Sky was also from the lanes.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe, potentially. Rio was extremely cute, and I feel bad for what's happening to Rio, even though they are being kept alive.
Yeah.
But at what cost,
In order to keep the mutation alive.
And it makes me worried for what Victor's future is going to look like. And like I wonder how much of it, like Heimerdinger said, how much of it is Victor, if he's being corrupted or changed by working so closely and infusing his blood with the arcane magic.
And the urgency and pace, Victor and Jace were already trying to move their progress at an accelerated rate that wasn't necessarily safety-wise smart, but it was financially smart.
Yeah.
And they, in their young, excitable minds, were like, progress, you know? We need to do this for the betterment of society and for all people. And Heimerdinger has this life experience that obviously, as that conversation with Victor comes to mind of, do you ever like think about death and fear death? And obviously Heimerdinger's response is more about people in his life dying and not himself.
But I think that shows you, like, I don't want to do this story a disservice of being like, Heimerdinger old, knows history, trust him. Like, because it's not that simple.
You don't necessarily have to trust him all the way.
Yeah, but I think it's really interesting because although it might not be the case, and although Victor might be changing because of the arcane magic, I think that it'd be silly not to address the fact that thinking about death can change who you are too, and what you'd be willing to do. Where
I was going with bringing up their pacing and urgency was that it was already in a place where it was teetering on the line of, is this safe at the pace that it's moving? But now with this added element of, could we actually cure Victor? Mm-hmm. The acceleration is going to possibly move into like this hyper speed that willingness to possibly drop some morals or willingness to try anything at different prices could possibly happen. There's a definite hyper fixation now, more so than ever, and the speed is just moving now even faster in trying to make this do whatever, heal. Like crazy things that they were only just imagining it could do. It's like now they're going to try to push it to do those things in a pace of not having those safeguards and maybe complete understanding, because someone's life is on the line that they care about.
So could you potentially see that the past occurrences that reminded Heimerdinger of what was happening now, do you think that they happened because the arcane magic influenced people in a negative way, which brought about the destruction?
Does the arcane magic influence the person, or is it the proximity to power that influences the person?
I think that's a great question.
Because at first, Jace and Victor have these really great goals for, making it so people aren't sick down in the lanes and the undercity and the fissures, that are literally making people sick and making work better for people, miners. They have these grand ideas of improving everyone's lives, and now we're focusing on one person's life. And yes, cool, curing people would help a lot of people, but the reason we're doing it is very subjective and very specific. And maybe that's what it is that once you decide to use the power for yourself, that is when something bad happens. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I wonder what the general feeling or consensus of Heimerdinger is. Like, if we don't talk to anybody about shows that we watch, like, one, because we don't really have many people who watch the same stuff, but also, like, to avoid spoilers or anything else, I wonder what the consensus of Heimerdinger is, because I think on one hand, it's like, yes, you are a wise, like, person who has seen a lot, so we should, of course, take what you're saying with seriousness. But on another hand, you could make arguments like, you could be alive for so long for a reason, and that reason isn't necessarily a good one. Like, maybe you have dodged death, and the people who have died earlier, their lights shined brighter,
maybe they lived a more fulfilling life by shining brighter.
Or they were more just with how they lived morally and were less willing to waver, and so they died shorter, like in a shorter amount of time. And if you're more willing to compromise on your beliefs and play the game, then you could potentially last longer. But my main point in saying this is that I wonder how else Heimerdinger could have gone about his conversation with Jason Victor compared to how it went, because obviously he had a very passionate reaction to the realization in the moment of what
Right.
Victor was doing and how he might have changed. But for somebody who's lived so long, if you truly want change, has that worked in the past? Was that the right way to go about things? You know?
There's it definitely calls to mind Jace's word choice in terms of announcing Heimerdinger to possibly be retired, in kind of like putting progress and helping people to the side of like comfort and security. I do wonder if Heimerdinger had responded possibly in a different way in that meeting with Jason Victor, if he could have possibly pleaded his case in a way that they would have better understood where he was coming from.
Yeah.
Because it seemed kind of just like a parent being like, no, destroy it, and
Yeah.
then you being like, but why? I created it and it's cool and I want it, and
Yeah.
then just being like, we're gonna destroy it anyway. And like that, no one's gonna respond well to that. You just telling them, this could be bad, I'm gonna destroy your creation.
Well, especially when it's a real living person who Jace looks at like a brother and his life on the line. I'm not saying what Heimerdinger's ideals or idea was wrong. One, because I don't know enough, right? But it just makes you wonder, right?
Mhm.
Like, were there other ways that you could go about it where you could try to sympathize with how serious the situation is and then try to explain and break down how this, happened in the past and why?
Especially with Heimerdinger specifically. He's already used the right words and the right approach with Jace in the past to have Jace be more focused on the security and safety, also with the progress, for when he didn't announce, the other inventions, which obviously was a surprise to Medarda and Victor, and who knows, was a good or bad idea. We don't actually know, what the aftermath would have been if they had been released to the public, if they will be released to the public. But there was a time where Heimerdinger was able to say things to Jace in a way that Jace had his ears open and was open-minded to hearing the advice of someone who he looks up to. And this approach, it didn't work.
Yeah. It's interesting because I found there to be a decent amount of validity in how Jace talked about things at the meeting. Obviously, the whole retirement thing was, sad. But the idea of, well, look at how things are now, and they're under your control, right, Heimerdinger? We're heeding your warning. We're listening to you, and look at the way that things are.
I know, when he brought up, all the pain and suffering that's happening under, basically, Heimerdinger being in charge.
And I know, I've watched other stories, I've read other stories, I see it in our world. It's in a lot of ways, it's almost naive to expect that a perfect world utopia could exist. And who knows, maybe compared to the rest of history or the rest of this world, this is the best case scenario, but it's still not perfect. And it's not going to, you can't expect everybody to be happy with something that a kid like Victor, a sweetheart, grows up in the fissures, and the gases from them affects his life expectancy. Mm-hmm. These are real repercussions that, sure, there are some people living great lives, but there's plenty that are barely alive.
And think about all of the years during that time skip where Shimmer was going rampant and completely ruining the lives. As Vi went down there, and she was like, there's a lot more people here than before. And then when we get kind of the reality of how sick those people are throughout the episode.
It's an addiction.
And it really, hurts and hits, especially with Jace bringing up how much stuff hasn't been taken care of and how many people haven't been protected during, under this council. Where they're all focused on kind of this comfort of, we made progress, we founded a progressive Piltover, but that doesn't, progress, you keep going.
Yeah.
You keep going. You don't just stop.
That whole scene down in the under city, right, was so sad. And it was so beautiful at the same time. The seeing the callback of the guy and unfortunately seeing him sell them out for more Shimmer, to Caitlyn breaking down the history of what Powder and Vi were to crumble on top of Silco, and it just it was so well done, and the animation was so good, and that's not even talking about the scene at the end with them on top of the building and Powder shooting everywhere. Before we get there, the whole Marcus situation. Marcus is like low key another great character that I love. I love his time on screen, and I think that the way that they're writing his character is super interesting. And I wonder what he's going to end up offering up to the story going forward.
Well, it's like before he probably felt like he was getting kind of a lot out of the deals, and now he realizes that the risk of what he tried to gain, it probably isn't worth it, because now, Silco literally was in his daughter's room playing with her, with people who, have been injected with Shimmer.
Silco knocked over the house of cards.
The whole
dude.
Tower they were building, yeah.
It was extremely tense, and I'm like, damn, what is Marcus's plan, especially in terms of him and Jace? Obviously that's our through line almost. Going forward is Marcus and Jace.
Yeah. Because obviously we had that interaction where Jace learns that Caitlyn has broken someone out of jail, and he chooses to protect her. Maybe out of trust. Yes, yeah. Maybe out of trust. Maybe out of not wanting to show any sort of weakness in his house because he just gained this position.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be a dark stain on his house if one of the people he just hired drug his name through the mud, and did something bad? And so he would have to try to maybe support it until he understands it better. Maybe it's just out of trust for her. It's kind of layered because of his current position in the council.
They've built an interesting story in terms of Caitlyn going forward, because Caitlyn obviously has the knowledge now of who Powder was, where that gemstone was, who had stolen that gemstone in the first place, her commitment to the guard as well as to Jace. So depending on where Caitlyn ends up next episode, if that is Little Man,
mm-hmm.
if it is Little Man so that she can go back to Jace or not, there's so much power in Caitlyn's hands right now, because if she, hypothetically, can get away back to Jace, then what? Because Vi would probably plead with her to not tell Jace that her sister Jinx is the main enemy here and the one who stole this, and have everybody go looking for her, and would try to end up pleading with Caitlyn. And it's just there's so many different routes they can go down now, and I'm so interested in it. It's so compelling, dude.
Caitlyn also has firsthand experience and evidence of the things that Jace was bringing up as problems at the council. So that would be interesting if they have an interaction together, and Caitlyn kind of explains who Vi is and why she broke Vi out of jail and what she's seen for herself. And who knows, maybe Jace goes to visit the Undercity where Victor's from, or something of that nature. I kind of have two questions for you.
Okay.
Before we continue. I'm sure we're probably about to get into
things,
the ending scenes. So I have a few things before those ending scenes questions.
Yeah.
So my first one is, do you think that the building that we were in with Caitlyn and Vi was their house with their parents?
Yeah. Or where I do.
I think because of Caitlyn leaning, they were alone in this place,
mm-hmm.
and so it makes you think, and they were the ages of when Vander took them in, and we also get that image of Caitlyn leaning over her, but we're seeing what I assume is Powder and Vi's mother.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna, and there was the height notches,
yep.
So I'm gonna say that this was their house, which I think is a really nice, kind of, it's not I guess super subtle. I mean, it didn't really hit me hard. I'm still questioning and was bringing it up as a question. But now when I bring up kind of the evidence, it seems like it was just a not in your face thing, but something you could have surmised.
Yeah, you didn't know in the moment if it was just a place where they had to spend a certain amount of time or
mm-hmm.
what it was. But if it was their house, then the symbolism of it being punched down by Vi in order to save themselves.
And now there was that big sign over it now that had never been there before.
I think
like things have changed. Like
Yeah.
her childhood and her sister that she knew has changed.
Yeah.
The show does that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I had one
go
more
on.
thing, but if you were in that same kind of vein, then
Nope.
Oh, you weren't in that same vein?
Not at all.
Okay. So the other thing was kind of right after that. And it was when Caitlin was getting the potion for Vi. Was that a little bit of shimmer that went into the potion?
It kind of looked like it, yeah.
Which I could see possibly being used if this is a apothecary that those unfortunate shimmer addicted people are using, then they might be getting a little bit of it in order to live. Like it might be that they would die if they didn't get a little bit of it. And then maybe shimmer could possibly be used in small doses for good things, like healing Vi.
Well, we saw it had some healing properties in Vander, or at least it appeared to give him an extra, chance to fight. But it definitely did whatever it was here for Vi. God, I hope it doesn't have physical repercussions and makes her need it more, or go through any withdrawal symptoms if she doesn't get more of it.
That's a good question. I would find it hard to believe that an apothecary would get someone who's not addicted to shimmer.
Yeah, but they're already down there, and
especially
it's for business, right?
She didn't add it until a really good trade happened.
Yeah.
Or was the potion able to do anything before the trade?
I don't think so. I think it was incomplete until that they showed the goods and an actual substantial trade, and then they added in that X factor.
See, I was like, is it substantial without that, or is it not? Is it that the trade was so good that the apothecary decided to be more helpful?
I'm going off of when she drew, took it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And, when Caitlin was kind of thinking about going for it, and then after Caitlin gave up the gun, that's when it seemed to happen.
Oh, see, I was taking that as she was wavering and not offering anything up, so the apothecary's like, you're not gonna pay? I'm gonna take it,
Yeah. Well, no, same. And then after that response, Caitlin gave up the gun. She was like, okay, I'll give it to you. Finish it off, Well, in a business standpoint, and I had something as, potentially lucrative as shimmer, I wouldn't want to give it away. A little
pit, the apothecary had it in this little tiny vial.
It looked like another person reached over and dripped it in.
I thought it was like a pen behind the ear. It
could be, but whatever it was, it's it's their product, right? Mm-hmm. They would be very safe with it. Two things I wanted to touch on before the end of the episode. Medarda fell short of the standards of her family.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if we're ever going to get a past of her. And during Powder's interrogation, whatever it was, which was badass. Powder is one of the most captivating fictional characters on screen that I've ever had the privilege of seeing. But if you know anything about me watching animated shows, anything to do with the reflection, I'm
you
geeking.
love reflections.
They had a great knife reflection on Jinx. Then to make it even better, they had, I've never seen this before, a flashback projected and edited onto a knife as a reflection, and it was so cool.
Which
and I was
is so good with her character and what's actually going, how they represent the internal of her mind for the audience to see, because we can't actually see, as she sees, but in a way they're creatively mixing those things so we can truly understand exactly how wild the inside of her head is.
Yeah. Okay, last thing, the fight scene, right? It all started, you could tell things started to ramp up when after Vi punched the steel beam, and you could follow the crack up, and you could see it's white, markings
which
come
I liked,
off of it.
Yeah.
It was great. And then, dude, I can't wait to edit this episode because I can't wait to watch the fight scene again, but slower. It was non-stop, and it was so fast, and I was like, oh my god, this is the kind of shit that I live for. I loved every second of it. Every impact frame, there was something to see. It was so entertaining. Beautiful. Best fight scene we've had in Arcane, right?
I absolutely adored it. I loved that we got, the initial badass excitement of the sisters back to back, but then we also know that it's not as like simple as that.
Yeah.
It's a very complex situation. Like if Vi knew who she was fighting, maybe she would be a little more reserved with the fact that she's fighting, or she would be fully like, but you're attacking my sister and I don't understand why, because she hasn't known what Jinx has been up to.
I felt like Vi was already holding back a little bit and then was just astounded, like, and surprised by how
like
crazy
bloodthirsty
Jinx,
like Jinx is.
Yeah.
I think she was like,
this is what you've been doing?
She was like, I think it was giving her a realization of that, wow, things have changed. And this isn't the little sister that I left all that time ago.
I'm scared that they're pushing Vi towards a route of self-sacrifice. Scared in the sense that I love Vi and don't want to see her die ever. But what more do you do in a character that has already apologized and understands their wrongdoings and saying that they never should have left when they come face to face with a broken character like Jinx? Because when Jinx first said, "Are you real?" to Vi, I was like, fuck. Like the only thing one of the only things that I can think of immediately that could ever hint at giving like some reality in for Jinx's character is a self-sacrifice or something that comes at the cost of Vi's life.
I feel like I might not want Vi to have a major self-sacrifice in a Vander type way. With her parallel that was made with Vander, I feel like Vi was already going down this route of self-sacrifice and making sure to care for Powder, that I feel like if this character just continued on the whole story doing that, it might not be as interesting of if that character that we knew to be like that ends up changing at this pinnacle moment of realization of change.
Yeah.
So that's where I could possibly see it going.
I'm just happy that Jinx or Vi don't have kids, because after seeing that bridge at the end, if they did, I'd be like, well, they're going to die up there too.
And they're going to die, and then their kids are going to walk across the bridge with little man holding them.
Man, I hope it's little man.
And then we also have obviously Caitlyn is the only one in this situation and the Firelights that know the severity of what is rolling around on the ground right now. Because obviously Jinx doesn't really care about it. It's this cool thing, and I don't think in Jinx's mind she's like super worried about it rolling around and it getting broken. Vi doesn't know what it is. She literally said to Jinx, I don't know what this is. And Caitlyn is like, oh my god, this thing is rolling on the ground.
Yeah.
It's about to fall off a building.
Last thing I want to say is one of my crazy things. Okay. Like sometimes when we're watching shows, I don't know, your mind goes places that make no sense. I was like, man, I don't know how this show time wime kind of stuff works, or the arcane magic actually works. Is there any shot that in some fucked up reality, Victor's the person who saved Jace and his mother in the past? Oh! Like, you know what I mean?
Oh!
Like if they chose to write it that way, it would be confusing and wild. But just seeing, you know,
would it be though?
I don't know.
Would it be if there's transportation magic? Why isn't there time travel magic?
I don't know, but it's a crazy corner thing. But like I just had the thought.
I like it. I like that one. I'm not always super on board with your crazy theories. But I like that one, and I think that it would not be totally crazy for magic system and what we've been given from this universe.
You don't need to get the net yet. Yeah.
to reel you back in.
Yeah, or capture me.
Capture you.
So, yeah,
because you're going crazy.
All right, that's all I have. Great episode. I love this episode so much.
I love this show so much.
Oh, the music was so great.
I didn't know I was gonna love this show so much.
Me too.
I mean, we were told by people who had seen it that it was good, and obviously people wanted us to watch it.
It's just better for so many reasons that I hadn't heard why it was good. You know what I mean? Like, it's so deep and everything is just firing on all cylinders.
I literally we had no clue why it was good. No, we just heard it was good.
We had heard like art because it's art people that
and I'm like, cool, art's cool, but that doesn't mean the story's good. That doesn't mean the music's good.
Incredible,
doesn't mean the dialogue. I mean, Dude,
voice acting.
I wrote down loneliness is a product of a gifted mind. And then I wrote down cannibalized itself, loosened our morals. I'm like, word choice, dialogue. That's normally like some of the things that I love the most.
What is truth but a survivor's story?
Boom.
God, Heimerdinger has the power to be some fucked up villain. He's the one who's...
Would he even, though?
I'm just saying, he like is in a position where he has the history. He's the person who's lived the longest. He could be making up fucking anything if he
His
was
pet's
that
a
kind of
sleeper
person.
agent.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.